What's going on, guys? In today's video, I'm going to go over Sphere 3D's recent mining update. And this is actually their June update. There's usually a bit of a wait until they give the update, and now we're already halfway through July. But in this video, we're going to look over this recent update, going over June, and go over why we saw a decrease in June compared to May, and what I expect moving forwards for Sphere 3D. So if you want more videos covering Sphere 3D, let me know, leave a comment, drop a like, hit the subscribe button, and let's take a look at Sphere 3D. We're also going to look at the chart in a little bit here too. And here's their June mining update. They mined 65.1 Bitcoin in June, which is down 16% from May, but up 434% year over year. And we're actually going to go over why they're down in June compared to May in terms of their mining output. And I'm also going to give you my expectations moving forwards, what we expect for July. And we're also going to go over what we expect for the revenue, because we do have April, May, and June, which is going to be reflected on next earnings. Now, their month-end operating hash rate increased to 1 exahash. They achieved 76.3 Bitcoin per exahash efficiency. And here's why it was actually down in June compared to May. Uptime was 86%. Down sequentially from May due to curtailments near the end of the month as a result of seasonal high temperatures at our hosting partner sites. And the CEO comments go into this as well. We're going to look at what we're going to be expecting for the rest of July as well as for August. So we'll kind of have an idea of, are they going to have these issues with heat again? But looking at their Bitcoin mined, they mined 65.1 in June. A year ago, they mined 12.2. However, a month ago, they mined 77.7. So we did see a decrease like was mentioned. And they did sell slightly more Bitcoin than they mined this month, whereas in May, they were able to hold on to a little more. But their mining revenue for this month alone was 1.8 million. Their Bitcoin holdings is now 20.2, very small number. They currently have deployed miners of nearly 10,000 and of course, an exahash of 1. Now going into what the CEO says, in June we mined 65.1 Bitcoin. Our Bitcoin production decreased in June due to a significant reduction in transaction fees from May, and curtailments related to seasonal high temperatures at Texas and Missouri hosting sites. And in June, their hosting site in Texas experienced operational delays in bringing hash rate online. Subsequently, in early July, another 2,400 miners arrived at the Texas hosting site, which we expect to be energized over the next week, bringing our total hash rate to 1.3 exahash. So I do expect a pretty good update for July. We will see a slight increase towards the end of the month at least, and that should be reflected in their next mining update. And once all 1.5 exahash are fully operational, we anticipate delivering positive operating cash flow on a run rate basis at current market levels. And for those of you that don't know, they just completed their reverse split, and they have regained compliance with the NASDAQ, as the closing bid price of its shares were above $1 for 10 consecutive days. So now that we received our June mining update, we can kind of get an idea of what their revenue is going to look like for this earnings. But before that, let's look over the weather and see what we expect at one of their hosting sites over July and into August. And looking at July, they might see another rough month once they give the July mining update. Remember, this is June, although it is in the middle of July. But compared to June, July is definitely going to be a hotter month. We may see some operational issues just because of high temperatures and mining machines having to stay offline. We get to the 110s, but the good thing is after July, of course, we are going to cool down in August. So we might be looking at one more iffy month. However, remember that they are increasing their exahash, as they mentioned, over the coming week. But looking at this just based on temperature and assuming that because July is going to be a hotter month than June, we might see a decrease in mining efficiency, but keep it in the back of your mind that they should increase the amount of Bitcoin miners going. I do expect their August month to be definitely the better month. We're back into the 90s, couple 100-degree days, but for the most part in the 90s. So let me know what you guys think about the June mining update, and how do you feel about July? Are we going to see an increase in Bitcoin mined? Are we going to see a decrease because of hotter temperatures? I think they will somewhat cancel each other out, because we are going to see more machines mining, but we are going to see higher temperatures. They might have to ease off just to keep temperatures cooler in the facilities. So as some of you know, I currently don't have any Sphere 3D. It just became too high risk for me. I got out almost a year ago now, maybe even longer, and I'm still waiting for a potential entry point here. And I'll show you guys on the chart in a second why I'm waiting, but also because, you know, July's mining update might not be all that amazing since they're dealing with these heat issues. But mid-August, when we get our July mining update, After that point, I think it could be a great time to get in, knowing that in August, they likely won't have any of these heat issues and also will have a higher hash rate, mining more Bitcoin. And of course, market-wise, by August, inflation could definitely be even lower than it is now. It has been trending down nicely, and soon we may see a pivot from the Fed where interest rates actually start going down. I don't expect this by August, but remember, the market is forward looking, and people will start projecting that we are going to see rate cuts in early 2024, maybe late 2023, and that could definitely help out a company like Sphere 3D that has to acquire debt at a high interest rate. But next up, let's look at the chart, and we're also going to go over what we expect for revenue. Now keep in mind that this is all split adjusted when you look back on the chart, but starting at the beginning of this year, this has been just tightening up. We haven't come lower than this point, but we've also been range bound to the upside as well. But you can see that we are tightening up here. We are consolidating a bit. Chart wise, this is still bearish. We are facing declining moving averages, and I'm watching for these to flip. I'm watching for the 50 to flip the 100 and then to work its way up towards the 200. I think we've got a bit of time to wait. And I do think that around August will be a great entry point for this company, or at least a better entry point than now. It is still a bit bearish on the chart, but that doesn't mean it can't just suddenly balloon out of nowhere, although I don't expect it. Now looking at their earnings, they have been increasing their revenue as they've been increasing their Bitcoin production. Their last quarter, they reported $3 million. For some reason, I think something's wrong with TradingView here, but it says estimate of 193 million. Back here, 197. I don't think they saw any way that they were going to get that. That must be some kind of glitch here. But essentially, we have been seeing an increase in revenue. Now, what you just saw, those three lines were the EMA is. Now looking at the moving averages, they are definitely getting a lot closer. They are still in a downtrend, however. They are still bearish. We still have the 50 under the 200. If we can get some good green days, maybe a push back towards our resistance right around 340, these can soon flip and we can soon get bullish on the chart. Now I do expect this quarter to be a better quarter revenue wise at the very least. And we added up their monthly Bitcoin production for April, May, and June. And they mined right around 178 Bitcoin. Times that by a $30,000 Bitcoin, you're looking at a little over $5 million. That's pretty good when a couple quarters ago they were only at 1 million. So they have been experiencing increasing revenue, and things could be setting up very nicely as we approach Bitcoin's halving, as Bitcoin potentially rises in price. And when we get into the next quarter, which is going to be July, August, and September, while some of that quarter we will be dealing with high temperatures, July is going to be a very hot month. Temperatures should be cooling down from August moving forwards. So I do expect that quarter to also go very well, at least when you're looking at revenue. So they should see an increase in revenue from the quarter, April, May, and June to the current quarter we're in. But let me know what you guys think about Sphere 3D. I'm still going to play the waiting game on this one. I do think a better entry point could be somewhere around the beginning of August, or maybe towards mid-August when we actually get our July mining update. Because moving forwards from that point, I do expect good things. I do expect an increased hash rate that will be reflected with their mining efficiency as well. Not dealing with these high temperatures like we've seen through June and we're likely going to see through July. So I will continue to keep an eye on this company. The fact that they've already reverse split takes a little bit of fear away. But remember, this is still very high risk. They're not profitable. But they do seem quite promising with an increase in hash rate, increasing revenue that's relatively consistent now. And of course, coming into Bitcoin's halving and coming into better macro economy with rates lowering soon and inflation coming down. But let me know what you guys think about Sphere 3D. Thanks as always for watching, and I'll catch you later.